Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mike, and today I'm going to tell you what is in my travel photo camera bag, which is also my travel and carry-on bag. So it's going to have a lot of other stuff in it too. Now here's a warning. It's an extremely simple setup, and maybe that's the point that I'm making today, is that you don't need to bring a lot of equipment with you if you're just traveling, especially on a family type trip. So when I'm traveling with my family or just with my spouse, they really don't want me hauling around a ton of stuff and taking 20 minutes each time I compose a shot. It's definitely a run and gun situation. And what I have found is that I'm much more comfortable if I carry just a little bit of equipment, not a lot of heavy equipment, just because it makes life so much easier. And so what I've come up with is I use this bag. This is a Manfrotto camera bag, not very big at all. And this was given to me about 5 years ago from a good friend of mine. I've loved this bag. I'm actually going to have to find something smaller though, because unfortunately we travel on pretty cheap airlines. I'm 6'3". When I get on in one of those planes and I shove even this little bag under the seat, there is absolutely no room for my legs. And after about an hour, I'm in agony. In fact, on our last trip, it was a 2-hour trip from the Chicago area to Houston, and I'm telling you, within an hour, I was leaning in on my wife. I was leaning in towards the window. I was moving in every direction and just hoping to make it through. So I'm going to have to find even a smaller bag. So if you have any suggestions of a good under the seat bag that would work for a camera, doesn't have to be necessarily a camera bag, please put those in the comments below, because that would be like super great. But let me show you what I have now. This works great. I just need bigger chairs when I travel. So one thing that I always carry with me, of course, is a water bottle. This is a Hydro Flask. I really love these bottles. They're great because you put some ice in them at the hotel and a little water, and it's hours and hours later, it's still ice cold. And they're convenient. You can fill these easily at the airport too, and not have to buy expensive water and have all that stuff. So this has a bunch of compartments in it. So we're going to go through these compartments one by one. And I'll tell you what are the essentials in here. So I always carry an iPad. This is a very basic iPad, a few years old now. It does have a Belkin keyboard on it. Here's a Belkin keyboard. And this, again, very simple, but I use this all the time. I edit photos on this. I use this to read stuff, to watch YouTube, to watch Netflix. It's a fantastic thing to have. Not very expensive. Again, this is the cheapest one you can get. In my pocket up in front of there, I have a couple of things. Always carry dental floss because I have a space in between two of my teeth, and stuff gets stuck in it, and it drives me absolutely nuts. So I got to pull it out with this. I always carry this. Now this looks like a first aid kit. It is not. I'm almost afraid to open this up because everything's going to fall out. So I'm going to be very gingerly about this, or careful about this. So what this is all the garbage that I have to carry. I don't know if you can even see that, to charge stuff. So I have battery banks in there, a charger with multiple USB ports, a headlamp, all sorts of different kinds of cords. Something, so if you're in a rental car that doesn't have the little USB outlet, I can recharge with that. This is a pain in the neck. I need to simplify this, but every time that I've tried to simplify this, I've missed the cords and I've wound up putting them back in. So I put up with it. But it's probably the heaviest thing in my bag, and it's a pain. But speaking of first aid, I do carry a little first aid kit. This is something I would really recommend. I just bought this little bag at, it came with some stuff in it, but I bought it at like Walmart or something. It was just maybe Target. It was just a few dollars. And I have in here the essential things that you need when you're out and about. So I have little packages of things like Tylenol and anti-diarrheal and antihistamine. I think I have a couple cold pills in here, a bunch of different size bandages, the Band-Aids really, some antiseptic wipes, and that's about it. And in this little container, you have no idea how handy this is to have when you're out someplace and you get a splinter or you cut yourself, even if it's a minor cut, it's bleeding all over everything, or you get a headache and you're going, oh my gosh, I've got a headache, I can't wait until I get to the drugstore. You have that stuff available here. Again, I took most of the stuff that was in here out and put in just what I wanted and added a few extra things. Highly recommended, weighs nothing. Really, really a wonderful thing to have in your photo bag, because you never know. I mean, if you've ever been on an actual job and you have a headache, it's no fun. So that's in that packet, and then we have another front here. Now in this front pouch, I always carry some sort of a snack because I get hungry on the airplane. And again, since I'm riding on those cheap airlines and they want to charge you $4 for a bag of chips, I bring my own. These are some prescription sunglasses. And then I have this little cheap tripod. I have no idea where I got this. This barely supports even a light camera, but it's better than nothing. It extends out. And obviously, I'm not going to use this in a windy situation, but in the right situation, it's come in handy on occasion. So it's very light. I carry it with me. I also carry things like a pen, for instance, to write stuff down. I have a little pad of paper in here somewhere. I have a little thermometer with a carabiner kind of set up, and yeah, I definitely have used this little carabiner to clip stuff onto stuff when I've had to do things in the past. So that's all in that pouch there. And not too exciting, but stuff that you really find that you use when you're out and about. Then I have this little zipper pouch here. I'll keep like headphones in there or something. But right now I just have some of these. These are not business cards per se because I'm retired, but it's just information with my YouTube channel and my and my blog, which is drmikekuna.com, drmikekuna.com, and my podcast, which is called Psychiatric Secrets. You can find it on YouTube. And I'll give this to people. So in fact, the guy that drove us home, the taxi driver that drove us home from the airport, we started talking, and he is a photographer. And so I gave him this information, and he said he would subscribe to my channel. I said, great. But, that way when you try to tell someone the information, people forget. So the big news is up in the front here. This is the actual camera pouch. As you can see, it's lined and very nice. So let me show you what I have. So again, my idea is simplicity above all when I'm traveling, because I want to enjoy what I'm doing, and I also want to take lots of pictures. So this is what I brought this time. I will change out this camera depending on my whim. Sometimes it's a Canon camera, sometimes it's a Fuji camera. This happens to be an Olympus Micro Four Thirds camera. It served me very well. It's the original OMD EM10, so it's just contrast detection autofocus, but the focus works great. It actually works pretty well in low light. I'll show you some pictures that I took in pretty low light coming up at the end of this video. I like it a lot. I mean, it's got the tilt screen, which I find very helpful. Not really a touch screen on this particular model. The one thing that I tend to mess up on this is this is your exposure compensation, and it's, unless I'm really thinking, sometimes this gets banged around a little bit and I'm like overexposed or underexposed, and sometimes I ruin a few shots because I'm not paying attention. But I like the fact that it has an EVF, and actually has worked very, very well for me. Usually the battery in here lasts enough for a day shooting for my purposes, but of course I always bring extra batteries and a charger. I will charge the batteries every night. So here's the charger, kind of big and clunky. What are you going to do? But I'll bring extra batteries, and so I'll carry one of those with me, and I'll also bring with me a little one of these. This was free. I think the jet ones or whatever they're called, they're better. They're a little bit bigger, but this does the job. And like I said, I got it when I bought a lens or something. Also bring some stuff to wipe the lens, a microfiber cloth, and this is essentially a buff, but it's also a microfiber cloth. You can use this for a lot of different things, but I've used it to wipe spills off of cameras and other stuff like that. I usually, as you notice, I'm just using the kit lens on here, and the reason I'm doing that is because it's very small, compact, and it does the job well enough. But of course, this is a relatively slow lens, and if you power it up, I'll show you. Kind of extends out like that. Put it back in. And but it's relatively slow, and so I usually will carry a faster lens. This is a lens that I've had forever and ever. This is a Panasonic 20 millimeter lens, like a 40 millimeter equivalent, and this is a f1.7 prime. So this is great if you're in a low light situation, and again, it's so tiny. And yet it's fairly reasonably wide angle, that you can use it in a lot of different situations. So I always carry an extra lens with me, but I've stopped, unless I specifically know, I stopped bringing things like telephoto lenses and all that, because I honestly never use them, because I just don't have time to be switching stuff out, or the environment is not very good and I just don't want to get all kind of crud on the inside of my camera. So I do with what I've got, and remember that it's just part of the vacation experience. So, anything else I have in here of interest? A little bit of, like, oh, this is one of those lens wipes that you can use that are pretty handy. They're also great for your glasses. And that is it, guys. That's all I take. So I'm going to show you some pictures now that I took. These are just family pictures for fun. I mean, these are nothing that I'm doing professionally, but he had a lot of fun. Was fooling around with black and white and doing some old sepia kind of blurry kind of stuff, having fun with that. So I'll show you those at the end. What you can do with a little simple camera, simple setup, still have a lot of fun in the process. If you get some time, please look at my blog. It's drmikekuna.com, drmikekuna.com. It's just a lot of personal thoughts, spiritual growth, what do I do, am I doing in retirement, things that are happening in my life, how to improve the quality of life, all that kind of stuff. And that actually then gets reflected on my podcast, which is called Psychiatric Secrets. Recently, I just turned that into a forum where I read my blog. So that's available for those people that want to listen to it that way, don't want to read it. So that was actually a suggestion of one of you guys on YouTube, so that's why I'm doing that. And it seems like people are listening to it, so that's cool. If you get some time, do those things. And if you have some ideas on a smaller travel bag that would hold my iPad, a small camera setup like I just showed you, and my little first aid kit, I can probably trim back the chargers and things like that and do that in a much simpler way if I have to. But if you have any ideas along those lines, please let me know. I need to find something that is going to work for me and give me just that little bit of leg room, because I'm telling you, maybe I need to upgrade. I understand. Hey, Dr. Mike, you're a doctor. You should be flying business class. Well, no, I'm not rich and I'm retired. So this last time we took Spirit, and that's the first time I ever flew on Spirit. I've heard some bad things about Spirit, but to be honest with you, the general experience was really quite good. They do nickel and dime you a bit, but the cabin crew was great. It was very efficient getting us on board. The airplane was new. I really have no complaints, except, because you're getting these flights so cheap, you are literally sitting on what feels like a lawn chair with nothing, which is okay, but there's absolutely no legroom. I am sitting as straight as I can. My knees were crunched into the seat in front of me. Thank God they can't recline them. So I need to get some way to get a little more legroom, and I think a better bag would do that. Well, let's look at some pictures that I took on this trip. This trip we flew into Houston. Why did we go to Houston from Chicago? Because we were hoping it'd be a little bit warmer. We got a cheap flight. So we did some stuff at the Johnson's Space Center. And then we drove to Austin and looked at the Capitol and the LBJ Library and downtown Austin, which is really a pretty awesome, cool city, by the way. And then we went to Waco. Why Waco? Why not? But in Waco, we went to the Dr. Pepper Soda Pop Museum. And then my wife was interested in seeing, there's a home remodeling show or something called Magnolia. I've never seen it, but anyways, they have a whole presence in Waco with a shop and a coffee shop and a restaurant and blah blah blah. So we went there too, just to see that. So we'll show you some of those pictures now. Again, these are just family shots, so that's what they are. You guys have a wonderful day. Please subscribe. I'm actually moving up. I'm past 5,000 now. Wow for me. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. If you don't, that's fine too. Give me a thumbs down. I'll survive. I'm a big boy. And if you want to make any comments, positive or negative, that's fine too. Just make them respectful. If they're goofy or stupid, I'll delete them. But I don't really care what else you say. So, bye everyone.